Good evening. I'm David Murataki, and I'm the Chair of Curriculum and Evaluation for Nashua School District. This is Monday, the 19th of June, 5:30, and we're in the administration building. I'll go ahead and start with the roll call. And Ms. Van Twyver has agreed to take the minutes of the meeting. Okay, so.
Dr. Murataki.
I'm here.
Mr. Kaufman.
Here.
Ms. Van Twyver is here. Ms. O'Hensey.
Here.
Dr. Brown is here, and we also have the President of the Board of Education, Mr. Farrington.
Okay, so the singular topic for this evening is a discussion of full-day kindergarten, and I'll be leading the discussion. I had hoped that this discussion would also entail members of the public, but we don't appear to have any tonight, so this may in fact be a very short meeting. So let me start with my opening comments on full-day kindergarten. As many of you know, I've been a strong supporter of full-day kindergarten, and it appears that with I believe it was a 10-5 vote of the Board of Aldermen, it appears that full-day kindergarten for the city of Nashua is approved. So with that, I'd like to thank a number of people who made that possible. First of all, I'd like to thank Dr. Brown, because Dr. Brown, you're the individual who brought forward a very innovative plan, in my opinion, to essentially bring what seems to be a revenue-neutral plan to bring full-day kindergarten into the district. And with that, I also have sincere thanks for a number of people that I know helped to make that happen. First of all, it's our Honorable Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for supporting full-day kindergarten here in Nashua. And we also had some very strong efforts by members of the administration and members of this board, including Mr. Farrington, who I know had staunch support for full-day kindergarten in meetings with the Board of Aldermen. I regret that because of business, being out in places like Finland or with my father in Kansas, that I was actually unable to make many of those meetings. So I saw some of this by remote control, but I am very, very grateful that full-day kindergarten is a reality here in Nashua. The other thing I'd like to do is to also thank members of the state legislature and the governor for their support of full-day kindergarten. I co-sponsored a bill on full-day kindergarten in the House. It was retained by the Education Committee in favor of an almost identical Senate bill, which did pass. It meanders its way through the House and the Senate, and finally, last minute finagling in a committee of conference, it did come out approved. It is funded by Keno, which actually makes me pleased, because I had also supported things like Keno and video slots. They feed funding into the Education Trust Fund here in Nashua, and it was through the passage by the Senate, which has never ever passed Keno in the past. They passed it this time and used it to help fund the full-day kindergarten bill. So there are many, many thanks that go around both here locally and at the state for passing a bill which makes it much more affordable for the city to actually go ahead with full-day kindergarten. So many thanks all around. One thing that I had a misconception on, because I knew what the situation was before it went into all of this last-minute discussion at the state, was that I had also thought that there was going to be a mandate that the district support full-day and half-day kindergarten. So in the final crush, I was advised by both Dr. Brown and Ms. Hohensee that the final wording on that bill, which I can read, RSA 198:48C, kindergarten grants, Roman 2. A school district or chartered public school that operates an approved full-day kindergarten program for which it receives funding under this section shall permit a pupil to attend kindergarten for a half day. It was my mistaken opinion that the final committee of the conference approved version required a district to support a half-day kindergarten program. It does not. That wording is tweaked just enough to basically not mandate a half-day kindergarten option. However, having said that, nothing in the statute makes kindergarten of any form mandatory attendance for any child in New Hampshire. So the parent may choose to send the student to kindergarten for a half a day, or for a full day, or not at all. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody was clear on that topic. Okay, so there were three things that I was hoping that we could actually have discussions on, and it will be clearly identified as topic questions on the next agenda that we'll publish in July for curriculum and evaluation. So the three things that I wanted to have people from the public and from the administration and the teachers comment on, and I'm especially interested in parents of either current or past kindergarten students, and kindergarten teachers, and members of the administration that are participating in the kindergarten program. So the first question is, as I just finished stating, there was quite a bit of discussion back and forth on whether or not there should be an option for a half-day program. So given that there is no mandate, we still, I think, should be attentive to the needs of the community. So one question is, to the parents and to the kindergarten teachers especially, if there is an option that the parents send the child for only a half a day, should we here at the district just offer one single full-day kindergarten curriculum and then let the parent essentially cherry pick which half day the student is sent to? If we do that, is it useful for the district to essentially publish ahead of time so that kindergarten parents can easily find out what is going to be taught at what time on what day? That would require that the parent be able to probably access the online calendars. I don't believe we do that currently. We don't offer a day-by-day identification of what is being taught in what classes. Some people have suggested that might be nice. It would be, if we did that for every class at every grade level, it would probably be a very burdensome thing for the staff. But is there some in-between middle ground that we might be able to use so that we could say, all right, generically speaking, in the morning we're going to be doing this, et cetera, et cetera. So the second item that I'd like us to think about is that there was a lot of agreement on both sides of the aisle in discussions on full-day kindergarten that we probably, in our full-day programs, did not offer enough playtime. And that was almost absolutely true for half-day programs, because kindergarten teachers involved in half-day programs were generally agreed that there was just no way that they could go ahead and run down the list of 90-something requirements in the kindergarten curriculum and also offer adequate playtime. This was even also true, apparently, in the full-day program. So is that what the parents and kindergarten teachers believe, is that we should be offering more playtime? If the answer is yes, I've also heard all kinds of discussions about maybe we should be offering 3 recess periods for kindergarten full day, or maybe even more. So what do you think? And we'd like to hear feedback on whether or not we should be offering more time for kindergarten so that the student can play and also learn to socialize, because that's a very important aspect of the kindergarten program. In many instances, kindergarten is the first opportunity for a child to interact socially, outside of the family with, initially they would be strangers. It's also usually the first contact of a child with the formal schooling program. In this case, it would be public school. Are there things that we can do that will actually cause the child to love to come to school? Because that's another aspect that we would hope for in a full-day kindergarten program. Not just the educational aspects, but the socialization aspects and the introduction to lifelong learning. So I'm hoping that we can, get to hear from the public on that aspect of full-day kindergarten. The final aspect that I'd like to discuss is that this actually kind of triggers on that second discussion. If in fact we should be offering more play and socialization time as part of the agenda for a kindergarten education of the child, if we're going to do that, how do we do that and still support the existing agenda for education? And I think I've mentioned in the past that just a Common Core, which has many good aspects and some which probably have fallen into criticism, but there are about 90 mandatory requirements in the Common Core curriculum for traditional math, which is what we use here in the district, and English language arts, 90 of them. And there have been teachers who have told me in the past that it is very difficult, even with full-day kindergarten, to be able to just go through and hit all of those 90 requirements and still be able to offer enough time for socialization and play. So those are the kinds of questions that are in my mind, and I'm sure that there are probably others. So given that I see no members of the public here, this will probably be a short meeting tonight because it's my intention to do as Dr. Brown recommended, which is to basically go ahead and have a short meeting tonight and to fully notice those questions and possibly others on the agenda, the public agenda for the next meeting, which will be occurring in July. By the way, I don't exactly know. Does anyone know when that next meeting in July will be? It will be 2 weeks from today, right? July 8th?
I don't think there's anything currently identified.
Oh, okay. All right. So we will fully notice that next meeting. So keep your eye out on the agendas. So anyway, those are my thoughts on full-day kindergarten, and I'm just so happy that this came through, not only here in Nashua, but statewide. So with that, I'd like to offer Dr. Brown a chance to give closing remarks this evening. I told you it was going to be a short meeting. So Dr. Brown, who has served as our interim superintendent now for a year, is probably one of the most highly qualified educators here in the district. I've been quite impressed by her experience in teaching and experience in education management and administration. She's got all kinds of wonderful degrees. She is a very learned person, and she's also the person who I think probably triggered the full-day kindergarten movement here in this district. So Dr. Brown, if you could maybe give us some of your thoughts on full-day kindergarten.
Well, I'll keep this brief in the spirit of a short meeting. It's a hot night. We'd all enjoy going home early. As you know, where I came from in Maine, we had all-day kindergarten for 14 years. And so I was lucky enough to start it when the kids were coming into kindergarten and then watch the benefits of that and give them their diplomas when they graduated. And it really made a difference for them. So that was pretty cool. What you haven't said to the audience is that while this initiative was budget neutral, largely,
yep.
The city should realize nearly $1 million in revenue from the state's bill. So that's significant in Nashua. And how the city apportions that, I don't know, but I think that will be very helpful. That's about it. We have training coming up with the teachers this week, and I think out of 40 kindergarten teachers, we have either 38 or 39, so nearly everybody is going to be participating.
Very good.
So thank you, and thank you for the kind remarks.
And thank you for coming. I know this is a difficult time for you to make your trip all the way from me.
Yep.
So thank you very much for coming. Thank you for everything that you've done to help make full day kindergarten a reality here in Nashua. I think it's a dream come true for many parents. I've heard nothing but really good things from many of the parents, not only in my district, but citywide. And we can certainly use the funding, so I'm very grateful that Senate bill actually managed to make it through. I'm confident that both houses will agree. Of course, that's, not guaranteed until tomorrow, but, many of us are fairly confident that the Committee of Conference report will be agreed to by both House and Senate, and the governor will be certain to sign it. So I think it's going to be a done deal within just a very few days.
Thank you.
So thank you again. Thank you very much for coming. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. And so we'll close this meeting. Thank you very much.
15 minutes. Wow.
That's
That's a
a
record.
record.